Remarkable moment, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Watching this for the past 35 minutes, listening to the Vice President Mike Pence deliver a somber message about a forgotten war going back 7 decades today. The remains of 55 believed to be American service members now coming back to Hawaii and coming back here to the U.S. mainland, waiting for further confirmation of their identity. With me, my colleague, Greg Gutfeld, co-host of The Five and host of the Greg Gutfeld Show. And evening to you, Greg. We brought you on to talk about something entirely different. But, you know, the way cable news is, you know, events like these play out in ways that you cannot predict. And no one predicted.
This is amazing.
The images that we were seeing.
I don't think you can understate the contrast of what's going on now and what went on in the fall, I believe, in Hawaii, when that state believed that they were under missile attack and that it was essentially the beginning of an apocalyptic war. And here we are, months later, in Pearl Harbor, going through a startling transformation and a negotiation. It is true, we are clear-eyed, we're sober-eyed, we don't trust them and they don't trust us. And everybody's waiting for the grand gesture to put the ring on it so we know this is real. Well, this is part of that negotiation and this is part of that step. And if you want to be skeptical or cynical about this, fine. But just remember, 9 months ago, or whenever that happened in Hawaii, nobody was cynical or skeptical. They were absolutely terrified. My wife was in Hawaii at the time. She saw families crying and screaming. What we're seeing now is a transformation.
It was a Saturday afternoon, right?
Right.
The alarm went off and everybody ran as if they were under attack.
Exactly.
Same situation for Guam further to the west. But you talk about the trust, and I talk repeatedly about a relationship that is just getting underway. And
yeah.
Greg, maybe this goes somewhere.
Yes.
But we've been in a stalemate for a very long time.
And you know what the thing is? What are the alternatives? It's so funny how conservatives and Republicans are now the peacemakers, and those who talk about peace are engaging in cold wars with so many people. The alternative to negotiation, or conversations with enemies, is only conflict, isolation, then ultimately annihilation and starvation if it's North Korea. So the option is to starve a people and then end up in a war, or have an open channel with people we don't trust, with the possibility of progress. This is progress. It's solemn progress. And I'm telling you, you've got to go back in time. Our attention spans are so short. You've got to remember that Saturday. You have to remember. Yeah. You know? Thank
you, Greg.
Thank you.
It's good to be with you this evening.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
Thank you for being patient as we watch the images come out of Pearl Harbor. I mentioned a minute ago just how many men we lost in the Korean War. The numbers are staggering. The number of missing, well over 7,000. The number of remains that never came home, well over 5,000. And today we see what could be the beginning of a very, very long process. The remains of 55 believed to be Americans coming home for one final time from that war in 1953. As we leave you tonight, want to play the images from Pearl Harbor and let you know we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Greg will be with you at 5 o'clock and not a moment before. I'll see you at 9 a.m. with Sandra Smith on America's Newsroom. We leave you with the images and the Vice President now in Hawaii. Have a good evening, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is a live look at an airfield in Hawaii where the remains of 55 American servicemen killed in the Korean War are finally coming back to the United States. The remains are being returned by the North Korean government. That's part of recent negotiations with the Trump administration. Vice President Mike Pence just spoke. We'll continue to monitor the transfer and check in with Pete Hegseth, who was in Hawaii just a few minutes from now. Good evening. Welcome to Tucker.